push your dick a little bit.
A puss.
Can I
A
see
pussy.
the
I mean
The
the
grid. They want to see
Kind of
the
dick is
dick.
that?
And who wants to see the dick?
You know, when
We
traveling-
make out.
So it just depends on. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're gonna have our guest, our great friend Marshall. Today we're gonna be speaking about men and women in the workplace and everything that has to do with it. So everyone say hi.
Hey. Hello, Internet.
I,
All right. So where do we start? Crickets.
well, what do you do?
What do men and women do in the workplace? Hopefully work and not too much sex.
I don't believe that.
Unless you're in the
Depends
porno
on the
industry.
workplace, I guess.
If you're in the
imagine
porno
a lot
industry,
of
you
sex.
will. Like if you work in the porno industry, you'll probably do a lot of sex. Like that's your main task.
Unless you're like a cameraman or a sound guy, because if they join in, then.
I mean, they're recording.
It's
If
just
they're
a
recording, they're
gangbang.
part of it.
So, what happens when you put a dynamic like that together? Like a man and a woman. It's obviously going to be crazy. I mean, it's
Well,
already
hey.
crazy when it's just women alone in the workplace. It's like that's how it is at my workplace. It's emotional and mean and annoying. So,
And this is coming from a woman.
oh yeah.
Just so everyone out there talking about like, oh, voice sounds familiar.
No, it's just an interesting dynamic. I actually want more men to be. There's like
Tell me more.
There's like two men there. You know, and their role is kind of like is different.
Non-existent.
No, not non-existent. It's just like different what they do. You know, one is like always outside and one is at the office, but it's just not enough of a balance. So I would rather more males in my workplace.
My former job was like that. It was mostly women. I used to work on like a surveillance call center position, and for the most part, we only had I think 3 or 4 guys, and the rest was. And now
How
I
many
hear it's even
women?
less. A small team, probably about 9 people. And then the management, they were mostly women. We had one dude that was actually 2, and actually that was pretty even among management. It was 2 guys and
Sounds kind of balanced.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
my
we had
workplace, it's all
we had a
women.
lot of stuff that happened between the guys and girls there. People were trying to sleep with each other and chasing each other around. I had one guy who had a stalker that used to call in regularly. I don't know how she got a call center's number, but she'd call in angry and wouldn't believe us when we said that it wasn't
So
working.
wait, though, there was like a customer who used to call in the call center, stalking somebody.
No, one of my coworkers, he had a stalker, and she would just call the call center and basically just beg to speak. And if we said that, oh, he's not working today, he's not here, he's out to lunch, she would just be like, I know who's telling y'all to say that.
So the calling into the call center for surveillance is like what you're calling to request something, or you're calling in like what are people
It
calling
was
in for?
different problems. It was loss prevention, so basically it was kind of like loss prevention customer support in a way. It was all internal, and we dealt with stores across the country because this was a big jewelry corporation. So we'd have people that would come in because they lost something or because coworkers are fighting and we got to send it to HR. We'd have like little old ladies pushing each other and requesting video saying she started it, no, she started it, and we were the eye that could determine it all for them. So basically just babysitting.
Okay. So I guess what I want to know is like, what's the craziest thing you've ever? I guess the craziest call, and then the craziest scenario or thing you've ever seen, call you've ever taken, whatever.
The craziest. I have a lot of pretty funny memories from that job. Some of my favorite ones are the multiple hits where they have a disguise, like
People actually do that?
oh yeah, this one girl, she
What you
would
mean
go to
multiple hits?
different stores.
Like rob the store?
She would, yeah, she would go to different stores and request to see something, and she'd dress up like an old lady, and then
Oh
she'd
shit.
ask if she could see something else, and when the guy turns away, she would just take off holding the piece of jewelry that she was looking at. They
Wow.
call them grab and runs, and she would just do this at different stores, just as an old lady.
Do you guys usually have like pictures on your office? Like if you see this old woman.
Well,
Shoplifter.
that's what we would basically do is we would have to take a picture and send it to law enforcement in that city wherever the store was located.
Hmm.
We'd send it to the police department, the video, but yeah, it's all kinds of. We saw, you know, you
So in
name
your
it. We saw.
position though, like if most of your work is just looking at cameras or routing calls or whatever, where does the interaction come in with your other coworkers? Oh, mostly the females, or is it mostly through the calls or just like the actual workers?
Well, I saw with both. One of the funnier incidents that we had, we'd also like let's say someone drives a vehicle into a store to rob it. That's pretty
Damn.
common. So the next day, our job would be to basically assign a guard to that store. We'd have a company we'd go through to do that, and we had one region where there was an officer that got kind of a bad reputation because he would be, assigned to stay at that store during business hours. But security guards, depending on the guard, this guy, his nickname was Officer Mike because he'd done this multiple times. He would start hitting on women while he was guarding the store, just the retail associates working the store. He would ask if, hey, you want to come back to my place and see my jacuzzi after work? And every
So
time,
so
like,
if he did do that, like what's wrong with that? Because people hit on people, right? So
yeah,
what would be wrong with that if
I'm
he want to see my? I mean, first thing I want to know is how many people went to see the jacuzzi.
I'm guessing none of the people that reported it. So if
And
they
then
reported it,
what was
I mean,
their
how good of a
reaction?
jacuzzi was it?
what kind of jacuzzi was it? I don't know.
How
I
good
didn't
it
go
was
see
it?
the
'Cause
jacuzzi.
You sure? You sure you didn't
Yeah.
inspect and?
just send him a text message, be like, "Hey, so how big is it? How many people can it hold?" Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, sometimes it works out. Like back in my old job, we had one of our one of the surveillance, one of my surveillance coworkers. She was dating one of the security guards that actually worked on site with us. So that was pretty interesting.
So say that again. It was one of the security guards.
So one of yeah, because we still had security at the corporate office,
Oh,
and
okay.
she was dating one of the guards that was assigned to the corporate office. So whenever she would get into a fight with another coworker, she would go, straight to that guy about it.
Wow.
So that had its own dynamic.
How did that match happen? Like, was she did she know him before and then he got a job there because she knew, like, that you guys are outsourced or whatever? And because how does one find the person that they're who's overseeing them to date them to get the hookup like that?
That just
I
sounds
don't
complicated as
know.
hell.
I'm not even sure what their history was. I don't know if I know they both had been there for quite a while.
Huh.
No, so what about you guys? Have you guys seen any crazy dynamics between men and women working at your
Um,
old jobs or
See, at least for me, like I live in a very I live. And look at me. I work in a very very highly political, progressive workplace. So everyone's like always on their p's and q's about what you say, what you do, how you dress, like the whole nine. So there isn't a lot about that going on. If anything, is the other side is like everyone seems like they're sexually repressed in a way. It's kind of like they don't ever want to share anything about themselves. They don't ever want to show anything about themselves. It's like it's very dystopian Orwell kind of feeling. did you get in there? I'm like I'm one of the only guys at the workplace, and we have about 20, 25 coworkers, and it's only 2 guys. There's 3 guys, but we don't count that third one. But there's definitely 2 guys who, and if for those of you wondering what's up with that third guy, he's just a snitch, so we kind of like kicked him out the club.
Oh, okay. So you replaced the S with a B. Got it.
Yeah, he just So
right, never mind. And,
right now,
yeah.
so so it's just me, the porter, and we pretty much talk like what you would consider normal dudes talk, and basically everything that goes on there would be like a typical office. Well, unless you watch The Office. If you watch The Office, it's not like that. I think nothing in the real world goes like what happened in The Office in that show.
There's some things that go on in the show The Office that happens in the actual office.
Okay, so maybe it is. But, yeah, so I haven't really experienced anything. In my previous jobs, I have heard. I haven't witnessed. I haven't saw it. It didn't happen within my vicinity, but I've heard a story. It was a coworker having sex with a client. The problem was
program.
Yeah, but the problem was that this client had somewhat of a mental disability, and her job was to take care of him.
Take care of him.
That happens a lot. Like, a lot of times you will hear stories of the workers or the people who are assigned to take care, not even in like that kind of a setting, but like in hospitals. You hear a couple of times about people beating the clients or the patients, or you hear about them like molesting them. And what about that guy that fucked the lady who was in a coma and got her pregnant?
Oh yeah, that happened a few weeks ago.
No.
A few weeks ago? Was it months?
That's way longer than a few weeks ago. That happened recently. That's like the most publicized kind of situation like that. But
yeah, it was in the news for a while.
Yeah.
She got pregnant, right?
Yeah.
But she's still in a coma.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
She's still in a coma?
Yeah, she's still in a coma. And she got pregnant by the guy that basically
a male
raped
nurse.
her.
Oh wow! I remember just reading the headline. I didn't know she was still in the coma. That's
I mean, you don't get. I mean, it must have been not that great if she didn't wake up.
I can't. But
how did it feel, babe?
Yeah, he thought he was gonna get away with that shit.
I mean, it was the perfect crime. He just left too much evidence.
Way too much evidence.
There's cameras everywhere, so it's.
Well, the thing about it, he didn't get caught because someone caught him. He got caught because the woman got pregnant. So
I heard that they just DNA tested everybody.
Yeah, and he was the only male on shift that took care of her.
Mind you, though, she was supposed to be on 24-hour surveillance. Because
he was on his turn. He would go in and like, I'm watching you. I'm going to watch you right now.
Right.
I'm like, let me just make sure I watch you down here too. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so has anyone in here experienced any kind of like sexual advances or harassment for that matter in the workplace?
Yes.
I knew someone who was dealing with it at one of my jobs. Right. He was kind of worried too because he was a temp and she was a
what?
And, she was a temp.
Oh, you said pimp.
You know, a temporary employee.
I'm like, she's
maybe a temporary pimp. But he was a temp, and he was getting harassed by a permanent there. So the dynamic there, just the power dynamic, was kind of intimidating for him, which, you know, it's kind of understandable.
Was it regular harassment or was it sexual harassment?
It was what kind of harassment? What did you say?
Sexual.
Well, there are
what kind of harassment
different types, but we're talking about
I'm gonna hear for a second. I'm like,
regular harassment,
sexual harassment. So But yeah, I mean, it was definitely, it got sexual. Like it would go from like 13 calls a day to, hey, can I come over at night and stare at you? So that was pretty direct. So it got to a
Um,
point where he ended up having to talk to
So
our.
what? She just wasn't hot enough that he didn't want to go there. Like,
Well,
he's just trying
there
to
was
get
an
paid.
age. There was an age difference. She was
How
maybe
different?
about 10 years older than
40.
him,
How old?
and 10 years older than he is.
2 years old and he acting like a little bitch.
10, 10,
No,
10,
no, 10, 10,
Oh.
10.
10, 10, 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
10, 10, 10.
hmm So she was, somewhat a senior, and they worked the same shift. So I mean, it was a lot of interaction with this person. Like if you
Ooh,
work with
Lord.
somebody, and then to get like, 5 or 6 calls from them when you get home, that's a lot of that person. So.
Damn.
it
What
was
about you,
more
Rosie?
overwhelming.
So I'm hot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very hot. It's about 85 degrees in here.
Yeah. It has happened, but people try to put it over like it's a joke, or you try to play it off like it's a joke. So it don't.
Is it for males or females?
Both.
Oh, Lord.
Oh my. Tell about the female ones. Just kidding.
Tell us more while we get this lotion.
Well, with like females, we always joke around. We always do sexual shit, but you're not really acting on it. You're just being girls, like how girls do. Like you touch each other.
I don't trust that these days because there's a lot of,
Be like, let me see your boobs.
yeah. But secretly that person might be gay or something, Like it's not,
Yeah.
it's 2019. It's like gender fluidity is like at its all times highest. We need to have like badge numbers and stuff like that with all that information attached to
You
it.
gotta
Like,
get into what?
like a badge number, like a symbol, badge. Just like at least I know what you're
Well,
coming
they have
from.
the thing where like you put in your email, your pronouns and shit like that. So that's a good indicator, right?
I think that the locker room right now is at its most dangerous time these days.
We don't have locker rooms, so
I'm just saying.
we don't have to worry about that.
But go tell us what happened. So what like?
But like I said, it's just mostly like playing around. There's no specific situation where it's like.
I mean,
oh,
I'm
well,
sure
this
Marshall
happened
got
where
lotion out there. He's waiting for the story.
He got
Did
what?
you-
Oh, his lotion.
He's waiting for the story.
Did you ever have a situation where you felt like you were playing with another girl and she took it too seriously, too far, too?
No, I wouldn't say that.
You tell me
That's
stories all the
good.
time about like your coworkers sometimes grazing you.
Grazing.
Yeah, like
well, we all
passing over.
graze each other when we pass each other.
Oh Lord.
When we doing stuff.
No, I
it's like,
remember
oh, let me shimmer.
The story was that you were blocking the hallway because you got a big bottom and you were trying to pass and you couldn't. I guess they couldn't pass, so they kind of had to graze your butt. And you was standing there like, really? Like you just gonna like feel up on me like that? And it was just like a very awkward conversation between two because we wasn't sure if it was sexual.
Obviously, that's a accident. That's not like.
I mean, if they take an extra long time to pass you,
It's like,
just like
excuse me. Excuse me. They haven't moved yet. They're just doing a 1-2 shuffle.
But yeah. So what about fights? Like her boyfriend comes through to the job because she found out that you've been talking to her or something along those lines, or the girlfriend comes by.
Like nothing crazy like that would have occurred. People show up to the job like, oh, you with her? You with him? You with them?
I know I definitely, like, if you tell me something about, like, oh, there's a new male coworker and, like, he's been watching me, I'll make sure I come extra early. Like, I take out my knife or something. I stand outside and just look as bad and as badass I could possibly look without being...
they might never see you because...
I don't know, but just in case. They might see me and they'll be like, who's that crazy motherfucker? And as soon as you come out, you'll be like, oh, hey, babe. He's in the car. And I look around like all suspicious, like, and see if anyone looking like.
Yeah. Try me. Brawn up.
What about you guys? Any love fights in your place?
Well, there were definitely. Well, yeah, there was one triangle. There was a situation where one person in the office who was dating another person apparently wanted to sleep with someone else. So, and these two already they had gotten into it multiple times. So it's kind of one of those things that it was kind of kept low key because it was like a powder keg with those
Apparently,
two. They're always kind of
not that low key, since you knew.
Well, he knows everything. He's in surveillance.
Oh shit! So, that's right.
I mean, plus, everybody,
shit.
everybody just kind of was pretty open. Like we had a shift where they just put us all together in this call center, so it was kind of hard not to hear what was going on.
That's crazy. When would y'all have time to do all of that when you're getting calls or the calls don't come as frequently?
We'd have periods that were really quiet, depending on the shift. Every shift had like its slow period. Like before that company moved to a different building, all the surveillance staff was stationed in the server room of the old building. So they were pretty isolated from management and everything. And I heard some pretty messed up stories about things that had happened.
Were you ever involved in any love fights or love triangles?
I don't know. I kept to myself. With
his lotion?
With my lotion.
With his lotion?
Yep. Lotion never hurts you. The lotion can never hurt you.
It just moisturizes your right spots.
Yep.
Or have you ever been involved?
We had another instance. We had one coworker was upset at one of, I think, the lower management women. So during the weekend, he was alone in the office, and he went and masturbated on her desk.
Wait, how did he get access to her desk? There's no like offices or just cubicles?
That's what I'm saying. Everybody that was in the surveillance department, they had their own little area, and she was still over with us. So she wasn't working the weekend, but because she was lower management.
What an asshole.
He went and
I didn't see any shit on her desk.
All over her keyboard, and she comes in Monday, and she's like, "What is all this?" So.
So Monday, she comes in. She's like, "What is all this?" It was still remnants there. You could tell.
Yeah,
because it gets crusty.
Yeah, it got crusty. The sticky keys were sticky, and
she couldn't write no essays, nothing.
Right. So it was.
I mean, you've heard stories about like angry coworkers shitting on like their boss's desk.
I've never really heard of that being an actual thing.
Google it. It happens a lot. It's one of the reasons why when they fire you, they escort you out because they don't want you doing nothing crazy.
I thought that was for like they don't want you to come and kill nobody more than it
that too.
Shitting on the desk.
Everybody copes differently. So some people shit on desks, some people shoot up office places.
Yeah. Did she find out what it was? Who it was?
I don't think she ever found out. From what I knew, I never spoke to her.
She did a DNA test.
These are all like
but they
stories
do that. They do shit like that. DNA test to see what's what.
I don't think the budget's that high.
No, because one time, well, if you get the police involved.
Well, it's not that big of a crime. Like, it's kind of a crappy thing to do, but it's not worth it. That's what it's the right thing to do, obviously. Like, if you don't like your job,
no, because
that
happened with I guess it'd be a little bit more of a big deal because somebody went to buy something and the person spit in their coffee or their soda, whatever, and then they noticed it. And so he got it tested, and they found out that it was the.
Well, you could test spit.
Yeah.
How the hell do you test spit? He hawk a loogie?
I think so. He spit. Yeah. They just said like he spit, and they tested it, and it was his. Well, you know when you take a swab, it's not just the cells, but it's everything in there.
Yeah, but the cells. That's what I'm saying. You do a swab, you rub the inside of the cheek to get the cells.
Well, they found out it was him.
Damn.
And
I have to replan my crime then.
yeah.
I didn't know they tested for a spit.
No, they did, and then they arrested him. So that's why I was saying if you got the police involved. If she even knew what it was, because it could have been like somebody just spilled something on her desk. I mean, that's what he did.
I don't know. Cum has a real unique texture once it dries.
Even after it's dried up?
Yeah. It's pretty unique.
Why don't you tell us, Ice?
Ice went in there like CSI Miami. He's like, this is definitely cum. Definitely cum.
So speaking of love place fights, we did have an instance where two females at one of the stores that we provided surveillance to they got. So we probably assumed they were probably fighting over some dude, but they were ripping off each other's clothes.
How it wasn't about something else? Why it had to be over the dude?
It could have been. I don't know. Maybe one of them wore the
took
same
the clearance
dress or
item.
something. Yeah,
She took, and she couldn't get her 70% off, and that's why they were fighting.
It could have been. So they could have been fighting over something like that. But yeah, basically they were tearing each other up, and it got so bad that one of the customers had to step in and break up the fight. And all of them.
They were coworkers, or they were?
Yeah, they were coworkers.
Oh.
They sent it up to us because we had to get the video to send it to HR. They had kind of, one girl had pulled another girl's pants down and started beating her and pulling her hair. Like, I don't know if I was supposed to send that to HR or World Star or...
Oh, God. Should have sent it to World Star. Do you have any... Well... do you have anything in your spank bank?
What the hell is a spank bank?
I know what a spank bank is, but not from my job, no.
Oh.
Wait, am I the only one that doesn't know what a spank bank is? What the hell is that?
It's a bank for your spank.
Do you get interest on this? Like, what's going on? Like,
yes, there's a lot of interest. A lot.
You have to make a withdrawal,
Stuff that you keep for when you want to pump the stump.
Hump the stump, like
Pump the stump.
So the porn folder, is that what we're talking about?
Basically, your bookmarks.
Yeah. Oh. Whenever you gotta mark a keyboard or somebody you don't like.
No, but that would be cool though. I would want to see some real crazy shit from those stores. I mean, you kind of see that now, like on World Star and YouTube and the news and things like that. But
yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff like won't make it. That's pretty funny.
That's pretty much as amateur porn as it gets.
Ooh, what about in the store with people having sex?
Yeah, one of the senior
is that like the top? Is that like the top ranking of genres and categories of videos that you'll see when you're reviewing stuff?
No, that one's actually pretty rare, which I guess that's good. That's yeah, well.
What do you think? He's a surveillance, he's not like America's sexiest videos. He's just watching a bunch of just like fucking scenes with like Carl Sagan as a.
So maybe sex, making out, touching, a little bit of hand motion,
Yeah, that's something that's happened. We've had people that'll go to the back room where the security equipment is for the store, and we'll see, women on break trying to take selfies and lowering their shirts to get all the cleavage in. But they forget that there's a camera up there, and we have to tune in if someone, presses a panic pendant or something like that.
I'm curious.
You're not always watching. Like, how would you come across such a video like that? Like, someone will request because they suspect, or you just happen to stumble upon it because you guys are reviewing or whatnot?
It was kind of a mixture. There were different reasons that we would pull them up because we were watching most of the stores under that company's brand across the country. So we couldn't watch all of them at once. Right. So one way would be if someone pressed alarm in their pocket. Another way would be as if there was some type of violation and they needed evidence of it. So I think like when I was brand new, we were so understaffed there. I was working alone, like I think maybe my second or third weekend, and I get an alarm and I pull up the store and I see a woman lying on the floor. And I'm thinking that, oh crap, maybe something actually happened. Maybe she was shot or whatever. So I called the store and everything and check. And as I'm calling, I'm also pulling back the footage to see what led up to that moment. It turns out the woman went to sit down and she missed the chair. Just lied on the floor. Just lied on the floor for a while until her manager got up and basically her manager answered the phone once I called and told her to come over and explain what had happened while the alarm went off.
Just trying to get that workers' comp.
Yeah, so the lady's like, I fell.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Damn, that's embarrassing though.
It's pretty hilarious. Yeah, people fall and we get to see that a lot on camera.
Now, I'm curious, has like anyone ever broken the fourth wall, so to speak, of like they just look at a camera and just wave and in the same time that you happen to be looking?
I do that.
Because I do it all the time. Like I see a camera, I just start dancing in front of it or doing something silly.
Yeah, I got a kind of a dark story. Like that was the darker part of the job. If you one of the senior operators told me about after there was a fatal robbery. One of the guys, committing the robbery, ended up flipping off the camera. That
He's like a big fuck you.
Yep. So
wasn't as dark as I expected.
Have you ever caught anybody pumping the stump?
Humping the stump?
Pumping the stump. Or DJing.
No. Can we just call it what it is? No. These abbreviations are confusing me.
They're cool.
No,
that's what I thought you were gonna say about the lady.
No lumberjacks.
That's what I thought you were gonna say about the lady on the floor. That she was rubbing one out.
Oh. Well, the store was still open, so just go.
Yo, people do a bunch of crazy things, but no videos like that. You've never seen anybody in action.
No, I haven't seen anybody, satisfying themselves on camera. So I guess they at least, they keep that contained. My coworker.
What about in your workplace?
Yeah, in your workplace.
Thank goodness, no, I never saw that.
Let's be honest. Have we ever relieved ourselves at workplace? It's a lot of quiet. It's a lot of quiet. We're gonna just leave that. We're gonna leave that at that. We're not gonna say no more. It is what it is, right? Moving on.
So is that a yes or a no?
I don't know. We're gonna leave that as mystery. We're gonna leave that as a mystery. I forgot what I was gonna say. All I'm thinking about is
you're thinking back to that time, right?
It was such a great time. Oh my god.
So have any of the customers ever called in requesting something, but then it goes dark, sexy, or like sexy. They hear your voice and they're like, "Ooh, what are you wearing?" Or you ask them. Or you ask them.
I have one girl. She was asking about some of the security equipment in the back. She ended up asking me for my number after I helped her with the problem, so that's about as far. Unfortunately, she lived pretty far away. She lived many states away from me.
So how did you guys come like to that? How did you guys come? How did
Unfortunately, not together.
How did it happen where she propositioned you or, got your number, asked for your number, or whatever?
First, she put it out like she was joking, and I'm like, all right. And she's like, okay, and what's your Facebook too? So I'm like, oh, okay, she's back in it.
Give me your Instagram, give me your address.
Did you give it to her?
Yeah, I did. I had her on Facebook. I think she deleted her profile.
Oh, so you guys are Facebook friends?
We were. I think she's deleted her Facebook. A lot of
she
people.
She can't catfish you because you got surveillance.
What'd you say?
I said she can't catfish you since you're in surveillance.
Right. Yeah.
to along those lines of like men and women in the workplace, do you think it's a like for me? I think we could benefit from more men, and that kind of would bring a good balance. But just with the dynamics of men and women, how you operate, like, do you think it's a good thing when you have men and women in the workplace? Can they get along? Can they work together? Like,
Yeah, I think if they appreciate each other's strengths and differences, yeah. Like, I think one problem with my other job is that a lot of both sexes have their their strengths and weaknesses. For our systems, most of the women, one problem we ran into is that they would run to management about everything that wasn't really work related. So,
and
I
do you
had
find like with that when that comes into
one
play,
woman
like,
got upset that I didn't say, I think, hi to her or something one day. So she went and told our manager that I wasn't speaking to her and all this other stuff. If there's like a small problem and, women tend to get emotional, sometimes they'll get upset at you because you're not getting emotional with them.
no, it's true. It's
That was
absolutely
one
true.
problem we ran into a lot when it came to working with a lot of women in the workplace is that guys just they didn't show their stress the same way, so women would kind of take it as apathy.
Do you think there's more of an issue with the 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 sexuality in it, or is it just like personalities and emotions that get into the way of when it
What do you mean by
becomes
sexuality?
um would being sexually attracted to or having issues with like flirting and relationships and stuff like that, that will be more of an issue with men and women in the workplace, or is it more so just the conflicts of your minds, like women think one way, men think one way, so your approach to things are always kind of different?
That was one problem we ran into a lot. Because I think women are good at multitasking. Like
Yes,
they're really good at
I know I
dealing
am.
with a lot of different tasks at
Unless they're
once.
driving.
Whereas men,
Unless they're driving, what? We can still multitask. We can still get like snacks ready for the kids and drive and talk on the phone and text and listen
and
to
kill
music
30
and
people
put
in the
on
sidewalk.
makeup.
and
Don't
that
do that
ends
alone
with
by
like
just driving by themselves, but
an upside down car with snacks all over the place.
Yeah.
snacks
That's
spilling out the edge,
technically
the
considered
back.
I wanted to say something that so in reply to what Marsha was saying about the workplace and differences and stuff like that, one of the things that I've noticed too is that whenever something happens in a workplace, since I'm one of the only guys, they all turn to me of like, what is my emotional reaction to what's going on? And I'm usually sitting there like, nothing.
That's kind of fucked up though.
Because everyone's having an emotional reaction. Some people are crying. Some people are, like, just like, oh my God, I don't know. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't know. This seems kind of normal to me. So let me just stand here and just smile. And it's just like, I look like the sadistic, crazy person of like, wait, you don't have an emotional reaction to this? Like, what's going on in your mind? And it has gone as far as people like pulling me to the side and be like, hey, I noticed that you don't have a reaction to this. Are you okay? Like, I noticed your energy is a little different. And I'm just like, I'm fine. This doesn't really affect me this much. I don't care about what's going on. So, yeah, I mean, that's one thing I've noticed.
Yeah, we had to deal with that too. Like with at least as far as working styles, like at least for men, I think men are good at focusing in depth on one thing, and going further and further at that one thing that they're dealing with. So one clash is that the woman would like want to chat or something, and the guy's trying to focus on something.
Or it could be
With tunnel
the other way
vision.
around.
It's like tunnel vision.
No, but it could be the other way around. The woman is trying to focus on the guy. All he wants to do is talk.
That too. That happens too. Like especially if there's the flirting dynamic going on. If the guy wants to, what's the word? Do a wedding dance in front, and she's
I
trying
felt
to
this
work.
kind of personal. She looked at me very intensely when she said that last comment. I'm trying to understand. Like, wait, what the fuck did I do? Am I the female in this relationship? What's going on?
You're back in the workplace.
So do you think it's more of a just difference in opinions or diversity in our opinions that gets in the way or makes conflicts in a relationship, or they're more of like the sexual tension and stuff like that?
That's a loaded statement.
I was gonna say I don't understand the question.
It was like
there it goes.
I lost
that multitasking.
We just lost it.
Do you think it's more of when men and women work together and exist in a workplace, the conflicts that come about, is it more so from just diversity in your minds of opinions? There's a diversity in opinions.
You're losing me.
I think it's I think where she's going. I think
is it more like the sexual tension and the relationship stuff and the flirting stuff that gets in the way that creates the issues? Because I always feel like men and women
Can we respond?
be friends. Hold on. Let me just paint the picture. I always feel like men and women can't be friends, and sometimes you get issues that arise when it's men and women working together and existing together, other than when outside of like a relationship. Which even in a relationship there's issues, but I'm just saying, you ever walk away just feeling like, I hate this
You gonna
bitch?
keep talking?
You ever walk away feeling like, I hate this bitch? I can't stand her. I can't stand him.
Well, I think everybody has somebody that they hate. Like, doesn't matter their sex or whatever. But every individual relationship.
But do you ever feel it more for like the person of the opposite sex?
No, not initially. It has to be something that has to be done that triggers you
not
like
necessarily based on her sex, but maybe her personality. Like there's some female personalities that are worse than others, just like with male personalities that are worse than others.
But you never find yourself saying like it's because she's a woman, that's why this is happening?
No, because everybody's different. So I've seen women who don't react like she would in a stressful situation, and I've seen women that do. So I kind of, I would base it more on her personality and how she's handling herself rather than, it's due to her being. But unfortunately, a lot of women, they may take it as it's because I'm a woman. Like that was one thing that came up a lot, is if something was a problem. I had one coworker, if she made a bad suggestion, every time it wasn't the suggestion that was bad, it was because she was a woman. So.
But did you ever do anything to make her feel that way? You know what I mean? Like in making the suggestion or downplaying it or whatever, or we don't need to do that because then we'll need this, and that, and the third, and that. Like, in that instance, maybe she wouldn't be useful because there's limitations in, like, I don't know, strength, maybe. Just give an example. That would make her feel like it's because I'm a woman.
No. I think, honestly, with the specific, with her at least, a lot of it was computer related. So she had sometimes, plus she was older, so, I would probably her age more than anything.
That was probably ageism over sexism.
Yeah, it was ageism, which there's nothing really you can do about that, because you can, chant equality as much as you want, but a 90-year-old given a cell phone, they're not going to be able to do with it what a 9-year-old given a cell phone can do with it. So. Right. But she...
something, Manny.
I completely forgot. I've been staring at the wall right now, like, what am I doing here?
What's my purpose? Can I exist? Do I exist?
You've been ranting for the past 20 minutes. Like,
no, I'm just curious to know. Like, do
men
feel that way?
Like, have you been in a situation where you felt like you were being denied something in the workplace because you're?
No.
Yes.
Not because of women, more because of age than woman.
Oh, you felt like you may have been too old or too young?
Too young, and I felt like that kind of made people feel a certain type of way, and the way they look at you, or the respect level that they would have for you would be different than a lot of the other people who were in like high positions, but because they're older, they come with more experience because of being in the field for so long.
Right.
And that's where like the differences will come from more than it was because I was a female. And again, it's mostly females in that particular in that area. So
So, what about the few guys? You said you only worked with like one or two guys. Is there anything that men do in the workplace that you felt like was, just more of a common problem among the male demographic?
That was mostly the age thing. Because that person specifically, there was like a small issue. So what came about it was like anger, a little bit of anger, and them not really that it was my fault. It just the way the cards line up sometimes. Just that's life. But the resentment wasn't. I wouldn't say directed to me. Maybe just a situation, but obviously because I was in it, then it came to me. But it was more so about that than it was like being a woman or whatever. Because again, everybody in the field and everybody in that office is like female. So
I think I remember a little bit about what I wanted to say was that.
Oh, welcome back.
That I think men and women can work together. Obviously, they've been working together since the dawn of time. But
yeah, we wouldn't be here if men and women couldn't work together ever.
It's all about managing and interpreting intention. Like, not all intention is always about some sexual nature. And it gets a little fuzzy when, like, if a man puts his hand on his shoulders. Like, my intention might not be to be sexual, but it might be.
Okay, so whose shoulder did you put your hand on?
I'm literally thinking about what's his name? Biden. The story we heard about Biden. He would go around like put his hands on shoulders,
but
like,
it made people feel uncomfortable.
Right, and it's as long as we try to really understand what a person's intentions are and not try to take it out of context, then that will determine whether or not we can work together. But if you start assuming automatic, you jump all the way to 10 as soon as I even look at you. Let's say you came into the door and I looked at you, and you automatic things like, oh, he's undressing me with his eyes.
What if it is? Because y'all nasty.
But I mean, if you came into the room, let's say you busted in the room, like so kicked down the door, boom. I'm not supposed to look at you?
So what? Okay. But then you're probably looking at me like, ooh, I like the way. Did she like the way? I mean.
Wow. She's breaking.
No, because I had to think about who busted in the door. You said if she busted in the door.
I thought you were good at multitasking.
Yeah. So what if he's thinking in his head, oh man, she just busted it through that door, just made my pee-pee jump.
But again, that's you already jumping to level 10. Like,
I mean, we do tend to do that, thinking like if a guy talks to you, he probably wants you. And I just feel like even if he knows he shouldn't go that way, I wouldn't say that he doesn't think that way though, or it's never crossed his mind, or he'd never say, "Oh yeah, I'll tear that up." It happens.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I think every guy looks at a woman just initially like, I hit it, and maybe you try to move those thoughts out your head. Especially for the ones who work with all females. I mean, what else are you gonna look at? There's no other shalongs just
shalonging along,
just hanging around, boop boop.
See,
you to be like,
you shouldn't be watching shalongs at workplace.
Part of the problem too that I've had, buddies, and I've heard some people say that they run into is that the opposite. Like, if the girl feels like in a workplace environment, if a woman feels like she's not getting the attention she wants, she can get frustrated because she wants more attention from
that's true.
her male coworkers, and she'll resent them for that.
Because you'll find yourself in a place where you don't want the attention. Like, if every minute you're walking down the street or in a workplace and somebody says like, oh, you look good, or you look nice today, and then you're just like, or you wear a shirt that shows a little bit of cleavage, and all they can do is just watch your cleavage. And then if you dress a little bit more conservative and then he's not looking at you, it's like, okay. You're looking at somebody else, then you're like.
So let me ask you a question. When you get dressed in the morning, and obviously, I'm not asking you directly. when you get dressed in the morning. But like, do you dress at a certain point? And be like, okay, I want this kind of attention, like for the day. Like, let me show a little bit of me, not the whole cleavage, maybe like one quarter of the cleavage. Like, let me wear that special bra or those extra pants that make my ass look nice. Like, do you dress according to like the amount of attention you want that day, or you're expecting that day?
Or if there's a raise on the table.
What'd you say?
I said, or if there's a raise or a promotion on the table.
Oh, I would say I would dress to. I don't want to say attention because, I only go from car to office to car again and back home. So I wouldn't say I'll get any attention, and then I take my lunch and I don't have to go outside or anything like that. So I dress to look good. And obviously some outfits are going to make me look real good than others. So all I'm thinking about in the day when I'm getting ready is like, oh, this is going to make
If you're trying to dress to look good, then you want a certain kind of attention. You want to be recognized for that looking good.
But it's just all females in my job, so.
Even amongst females, I think females are some of the highest haters of other females.
Yeah, but
That's
for me,
true.
it's just
Women,
like I just want to be comfortable today because it's hot.
like,
So this
I
is
would
going to
wanna
make
say
me
that
less.
women pressure women about how to look more than men pressure them a lot of the time. So.
It's awkward silence. Crickets. So I think you mentioned something about a raise.
What do you guys think of? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you mentioned something about being getting a raise. So has that ever happened, like a coworker or to yourself, where a boss is like, hey, listen, we got a new position open, but I need you to do a little something.
That's
something.
never happened for me.
Do you want it to happen?
Depends on what it is.
Like what we talking
Depends
about?
Depends how he look. First of all,
What is the woman?
she gonna have to do something to me. I'm be like, yo, I do it, but you gotta do it to me.
What are you doing if she's doing it to you?
I'll entertain the thought, but you have to do it to me. I'm not.
So you're gonna get a raise,
Yep.
and you're gonna get.
Yep. Because most likely, if she's willing to go there, she's into some nasty shit. So I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna entertain you, okay? How about you do it to me? I'll let you do it to me, and I won't say nothing, but I still want that raise.
Wow,
That's
that's
what
you're. I
That's
would
good
have never give you
bargaining.
a raise. That's like master. You're better than Trump when it comes to deals. It never happened to me. I'd be pretty scared to accept something like that. Like, I'd be a guy. Hey, listen,
Why would you be scared?
Because what if it's a guy?
But what if it is a guy? What
I
if he just
mean-
wants to play in your hair, grab your earlobe,
I'm good. No, I'm good.
rub on your shoulders?
I'm good.
Like, I like the way this shirt feels. This
I'm
is a
good.
good color on you. How do you get the threads to conform
Extra
to your
10,000
muscle?
a year.
Not as
Yeah.
extra $10,000 a year. That's only what, like $100 a paycheck? No, I'm good. And that's
So what if it
what?
was a
That's
female?
before taxes.
What if it was a female?
Again, I don't know. Like that's a large headache.
If she's
That's not a-
saying,
that's-
yo, I will let you get this position with this much salary boost if you tickle my nipples.
Just tickle nipples.
And it may
I'm not a good bargainer, so it's
and
like
it may lead to other things, but if she just says, all I want you to do is wear my
See,
heels.
the thing
and
about this is
tickle my
that it's never
nipples.
gonna be a one off. once you open that door, she's gonna be like, "Hey, Lid, hey, I know you tickled my nipples yesterday. Can you tickle my?"
So would you do it?
I don't know.
Remember, you have to wear her heels too.
Oh shit! Fuck.
She slipped across.
She don't got a size 11 heel. I don't know about that. If she don't have a size 11 heels, I don't think I could wear them.
What if she buys you that then? Like, I want you to stand up in these
This is
heels
more than just
and tickle my nipples with these heels.
I mean, if I come to you and be like, "Hey, babe, my boss is gonna offer me like $500,000. I just gotta do all this stuff." You would probably be like,
"Do that shit and record
Can I film it?"
Yeah, exactly.
But someone with that kind of power, they're not just gonna let you fly after the 1 or 2 times. They're gonna want you to keep doing it more and more and more and more times. And the moment you say no, that's when you're basically fucked yourself, because they're gonna fire you. They're gonna do all sorts of things. They're gonna charge you with sexual harassment. She's like, he trying to tickle my
That's why
nipples.
I reported it, because she said I could get it, or he said I can get it if I just do this. I just don't want to do it no more. Then it'll just be time for a new job, because it's just gonna be awkward as shit.
You better get a good lawyer.
Who did Trump get?
I know he's in jail right now.
Good enough.
Apparently he wasn't good enough. Well, actually, see, Trump is still free, so I guess he was free.
Good enough.
It's a hell of a lawyer. He sacrificed himself so we can be free.
What else? I don't think there's anything else.
You didn't say anything else.
No, I'm just thinking like,
You said I don't think I said anything else. Yeah, you didn't. That's why you're saying what else.
I think we covered everything. I don't think there's anything else. So
I always tell you I hate when you end a podcast like that. I think we covered everything. So yeah, okay, yeah, let's wrap it up.
So how would you end it then, since you're such an expert? Matter of fact, Marshall, you end it.
Me, this is my first time.
That's right, popping your cherry.
Yep.
All right. Well, if you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe on your respective platform.
Oh, how
and
sweet.
Any comments or questions? I don't know what you guys have set up so far.
They want to see your spank bank.
It's probably too large to upload anywhere. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. The exhibition of Marshall's spank bank.
It might take longer to upload than it takes to process on Premiere for your uploads.
We have friends that can probably take care of that. All right, well, Marshall, thanks you for being a guest on our show. Thank you for our listeners. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in.
Thanks
Please
for
check us out.
Check us on Spank Bank.
Check
us out on our website, flatulentthoughts.com. Check us on our social media.
Yeah, I do have a thing about a spank bank. Okay, yeah.
And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
See you.